basically my first question, I mean, out of the blue, is basically, what is atheism? How do we define it? And, you know, what's so special about it?
Okay, so in a nutshell, bro, atheism is it's defined in many ways. You can call it an ideology, you can call it a worldview, you can call it a way of life, you can call it just a simple belief or a viewpoint. There's many ways atheists would refer to atheism, but generally speaking, if you go by a dictionary definition, atheism is the idea that there is no God, there is no creator. That they believe that affirmatively that there is no creator that created everything that exists. And therefore, in other words, what they're saying essentially is that everything in existence, the universe, us as human beings, and everything that exists is a result of just random physical processes. Everything is one big accident, essentially.
So,
Life,
so would
universe, and
you?
everything that
Yeah. Did you want to add something also?
No, that's
Okay,
it.
so that's it basically. I mean, do you agree with the notion? I mean, that atheism, or the idea of atheism, is something new in the modern era, and also that it's growing. Do you agree with these two? You know.
Very good question. The first question is a very interesting question. Firstly, it's not something new. Atheism has been around for, as far back as you want to look. There's been some form of atheism, like even as far back as the 15th and 16th centuries. There were reports of individuals who you would call atheists. But we need to remember that atheism as a term has been used in many different ways historically. So at one point in history, atheism, some Christians would refer to other Christian sects and groups as atheists because they wouldn't have orthodox beliefs. So atheism was used in a slightly different context back then. But today, when we say atheism, the general meaning of atheism is the type of new atheism, which is the denial of a creator, a God, and that claim. But historically speaking, there were many ways the term atheism was used. Now, in regards to the second claim, is it growing? It was popular, and I refer to it in the past tense. It was popular. If you go maybe a decade back, 5 to 10 years back, it was popular. There was a bit of a blip as far as its popularity was concerned, but I think currently, today, 2020, it's starting to die down. That sort of traditional, if you like, classical new atheism, that the type that's promoted by Richard Dawkins, is dying out now very quickly.
And what's the reason for that?
Well, I think one of the predominant reasons is because it's averse to human nature. It doesn't fit the human being. Human beings intrinsically are spiritual beings. We are beings that live with meaning. Everything about our existence, we see things through the lens of meaning. And that's exactly what atheism removes from you as a human being. It removes all meaning. We're ethical creatures. We're moral creatures. And again, atheism removes that from you. It removes any sort of objective standpoint of morality from you as a human being. Everything becomes subjective. So I think those two predominant reasons, and just generally that atheism, the whole idea that there is no creator, that everything is an accident, is very averse to human nature. We as human beings recognize that we have intrinsic meaning, that there is some significance to our existence, and we recognize that we're spiritual and we need to express this. But atheism doesn't allow us to do this. And this is why, bro, we see this new trend of atheism, the type that's been pushed by Sam Harris, which is a spiritual type of atheism now, or spirituality on atheism. That's why he wrote the book, Waking Up, and he's got even an app now, a paid app that is very popular, and loads of atheists are now moving towards that. And also, bro, one thing was very interesting before I finish on this point is that we're seeing a movement of atheists towards a new type of existentialism, meaning the type of ideologies that's been promoted by people like what's his name? Very famous speaker and professor, Jordan Peterson, for example.
Yeah,
a lot of atheists are turning towards him, and that's why
but he's not an atheist, basically.
No, he isn't.
No.
Yeah, but you could say he's Christian, but he's not very outwardly about his views in regards to religion. He's more about how we should live our lives with meaning and purpose, and how we should deal with suffering. So he deals with really practical existential things. But I think that's what's really popular about him. And I think the reason he's gained so much popularity is because you have a lot of people that previously associated with atheism or Richard Dawkins and all of these atheists are now moving towards him because they get from him what they couldn't get from Dawkins and the atheists.
Wow, really? I mean, that's crazy, because a lot of, you know, atheists basically that write comments on my YouTube channel basically say that atheism is the natural, you know, disposition. It's basically the natural position, and that belief is acquired. You wouldn't agree with this?
No, it's not only me, bro. I mean, if you look at all of the research that's been coming forward, individuals that study this field of how belief is hardwired into human beings, or is it hardwired into human beings? Justin L. Barrett is a very good resource. He's written a book called Born Believers, and he has several other books on this topic. You have Olivera Petrovich. She, as far as I'm aware, she is an atheist, and both of them, as well as many other individuals or professors who study child psychology in particular, you know, focusing in on the belief in God. One thing they highlight is that the belief in God is natural. It's built in, it's hardwired into the human being. Now, the conclusion they come to based on this reality, like how they now summarize this reality, or what conclusions they come to based on this. Some of them may say, well, it's because of evolution, etc., etc. But that's not the point. The point is that belief is natural to human beings, right? And atheism is unnatural. How you want to understand this is a different story. How you want to take this data now and interpret it is a different story. But if you look at the data, the raw data suggests that belief is natural and atheism is unnatural.